Oh, what's up GameLeap, it's the Jizz here, and boy do I have a special video for you today. We are going to be watching, guys, a game of a gold Korean player, and remember, gold in Korea is the same as NA Challenger, who thinks they should be at least diamond elo. Now that is a big call. So to find out if this dude is telling the truth or just talking smack, we're going to have to watch his gameplay. And this will be extremely useful for any of you finding yourselves not being able to carry hard enough, not being able to win lane as much as you would like, and isn't this everyone? Now before we get into Baby Faker's game and the red hot tips that Jizz has in store, make sure to smash that sub button and head on over to the GameLeap website before it's too late. We're already halfway through this season, can you believe it? And it's gone quicker than the Jizz Can Say Pro Guides had. The season 11 end will be here before you know it, so to make sure you achieve your rank goals before that time comes, get signed up for exclusive access to our Challenger video library, links in the description and comment section. Now the first tip that Baby Faker shows us how to do is to auto attack a minion instead of the Aphelios. Now this is one of the cardinal sins of low elo, guys. So many people, so many players will have target champions only, not even binded. And what this means when you're actually fighting an enemy champion, when there's other targets around like minions or monsters or other champions, there's less chance of you actually hitting that champion. You have to be so precise with your mouse. And this is why this KAISA here hits the minion and not Aphelios, because her mouse is just a pixel off being perfect. And this is the problem, again, with fighting champions in enemy waves and not having target champions on. So go into your in-game settings, put your target champions only key onto a hotkey that feels comfortable, and get used to pressing it when you're fighting the enemy champions. It's going to be so helpful because you're not going to waste auto attacks and some of your abilities on the wrong target. Now as this level 1 plays out, Baby Faker is going to make another little mistake here, guys, and we're going to see it right here, using his ability on a minion like this right here. So you can see how KAISA's Q is now available. He uses his Q just for one minion. Now why is this important in any lane, especially at level 1? Well, when you use your ability on just one minion, especially if you can use this ability on multiple minions, guess what? Your wave is actually going to push a little bit slower, right? So instead of hitting just one minion, this KAISA can hit multiple minions at a time with her Q. And it's not just bad in terms of the push as well, right? Because we always want to hit level 2 first if we can, because it makes the lane so much easier to play. It's also bad in terms of actually fighting the enemy champions, because if you look in the bottom left, we don't have our Q anymore. So really in terms of cooldowns, Lux and Aphelios, even though Aphelios doesn't have an ability okay at level 1, generally speaking, this is just bad, because we don't have that cooldown to fight the enemy champions, and they can take control of the lane. Now thankfully in this lane it doesn't actually matter, and I just want to congratulate Baby Faker for this Q right here. This is really good because he's hitting multiple minions. You know, he's not just blowing his load on just one target. We want multiple targets with these AoE abilities in the early laning phase for the push. Now I'm going to let this clip play out for you, and I want you guys to tell me in the comments, can you see what Baby Faker's problem is here? He is so, well, I'm going to tell you, he is so focused on the CS, right? Like he thinks this is the only thing that matters in the lane. Let me just tell you that the best players in the world will be able to CS. They will be able to position. They'll be able to trade with the enemy champions all at once, right? This is what makes them Challenger the best in the world. This is something that I see so much in gold players, right? It's like the CS is the be-all and end-all, and they think about the enemy champions they play against. I actually mentioned it in yesterday's video. The enemy champions, guys, in your lane are the most important detail. So when Baby Faker has a health disadvantage like this becomes the really important factor in the lane. Getting the CS is of course important, but if we forget about the enemy champions and who we're playing against, this means we're going to open ourselves up to the enemy damage and cooldowns, of course, which is why Lux has been able to land every single E onto Baby Faker, and this is why he's pretty much chunked out of the lane, even at level 2 here. Now the fix to this is actually very simple. All you have to do is look at the enemy champion, right? That's it. If Baby Faker looked at Lux just a little bit more and cared about her more than her CS, she would not be this low and she'd be able to dodge a few of her E's. But because she doesn't even think about it, she gets chunked. So yes, it sounds simple. All you have to do is just look at the enemy champions, but it actually takes a lot of time to get used to this in the laning phase because it will feel so weird at the start. But trust me, the more you can focus on the enemy champions, guys, in your lane, the better you are going to perform and the more things you can do in that lane. Now, how many of you out there want to know how to react to a gank optimally? Like if the enemy jungler ganks you, what do you do? Well, Baby Faker is about to show you exactly what you have to do. So Kindred comes in here, watch what Baby Faker does. He does an auto attack. That is the key, guys, to turning a gank around. If you ever get ganked, do not auto-attack that champion, just run through them. Now, hopefully you guys know I'm trolling at this point. That was a joke. Because, of course, when Kindred comes in here, we probably want to auto-attack her because it might save Morgana and you might be able to trade a 1-for-1. You don't just want to let them gank for free, of course. So whenever an enemy champion is ganking your lane, guys, and especially when they're focusing on a champion that isn't yourself, you can go ham on them. So Baby Faker running through Kindred here is really troll. Not even auto-attacking her once before he E's is really troll as well. So if you're not the prime primary target of that ganker, do not be scared. Put out some damage. Try to save your teammate. Try to trade a 1-for-1. Now, I'm going to show you guys a trick here with the wave management that is going to set up kills, because remember, this game, guys, isn't just about running into your lane or running against the enemy jungler and 1v1ing them to the death, right? It's also about setting up kills with a little bit of foresight. Wave management, setting up your wave in a freeze, is one of the best ways to go about doing it. It means the enemy champions are going to be more vulnerable to ganks, of course, and because they're pushed up, they're further away from their tower. So even in a 2v2, it can sometimes be very risky for them to play. So whenever in your games, guys, you have a wave as big as this one right here, you have to do one thing for me. You have to try and make sure that the enemy minion wave has at least 3 range minions more than your own. But when I let this play out, you can see that the enemy minion wave is way too big for Baby Faker to handle. So what he should be doing right now is auto-attacking the melee minions and getting rid of these. This is what you start with, unless there's a cannon minion. So it's a cannon minion first, you get rid of that. Then you target the melee minions, then you deal with the range minions if there's an excess of them. This is what we call thinning the wave. I'm sure you've heard this by now. And what you're doing is really compressing that enemy wave so it's in a manageable state, because when it's as big as this, there's like 2-3 creep waves here, it's way too hard to handle, okay? So we're thinning it out and trying to create a freeze. But because Baby Faker doesn't auto-attack the wave enough, okay, he's auto-attacking it a little bit here and using his Q, but the wave is way too big for him to hold it up because he's going to take way too much minion damage and it crashes into his tower. So this was a little bit of a missed opportunity here. Now, we just looked at an example of Kindred, the enemy jungler, ganking this lane. Well, what about when your own jungler is ganking your lane and your support lands a binding like Morgana does here? Do we want to go in? Of course we want to go in, but we want to go in correctly, and your positioning is everything here. So in this position right here, you can see KAISA. Yes, okay, this looks like a 2v1 because both Morgana and KAISA are hitting the Aphelios, but really this is like a 3v1 because Lux, Aphelios, and the minion wave are hitting KAISA as she moves up here. So it's all well and good your teammate ganking, but in this situation, Diana isn't even on our screen. So really this is just a 2v2, and in terms of this 2v2, Aphelios, Lux, and the minion wave are hitting KAISA. So Baby Faker dies extremely quickly here, and you can also see how he's just right-clicking. You have to move in between your auto attacks, guys. I cannot stress you that enough, especially on AD carries. So if he was to move beyond Aphelios here, so he didn't take as much minion damage as this, I think he has a chance of surviving this, but because he just stands still in the minion wave on top of Lux and Aphelios, he takes way too much damage from multiple sources. So in those fights, when your teammate is ganking and your support lands some sort of CC, even in team fights, try to isolate that primary target by moving in a way that separates yourself from the other sources of damage. Very important. Now, there's about to be another fight in the bot lane here, guys, and if you're enjoying these videos of me roasting lower elo players, then please let me know by leaving a like on the video. But yes, this 2v2 right here is actually played a lot better by Baby Faker, but if he ulted just before, you see how he ults to the right here? This is great because he's isolating Aphelios, the primary target, and creating space between him, Lux, and the enemy minions. So this is so much better. This is a massive improvement to the last fight we looked at, but unfortunately, he still stays pretty close to Lux, and she's able to get in a couple of auto attacks. And yes, you can say that Morgana is AFK, she should be doing a lot more in this team fight, but really KAISA can actually kill the Aphelios on her own here, and I think there's a really good chance she survives if again she just isolates that primary target and moves away from the enemy sources of damage. Now, I cannot believe I'm about to say this, but I am so proud of Baby Faker here for how he plays this minion wave. You can see in the river, if I pause it here, guys, you can see Morgana in this river brush, okay? Now Baby Faker could very well have just autopiloted and hit this minion wave to push it into the enemy tower, right, as it came into lane, but he didn't. He let it come into lane, and all he's doing here is last hitting. So when you're trying to get an ambush on the enemy champions, you need the wave to be in the middle of the lane, really. You know, you don't want it to be pushing into the enemy champions. And something very subtle as well that he probably doesn't do intentionally, so you can see here, guys, his positioning is actually towards the lower side of this bot lane. Well, what does this mean? This means that the enemy champions naturally are going to position in the opposite direction to him, towards the actual river. They're going to hold the higher side of this lane, which is exactly what ends up happening. You can see how Lux moves over here to E the brush, Morgana lands a beautiful binding, and they get the kill out of this. This is all set up really because he's not pushing the wave is in a great position because he's just last hitting, and he moves south of the lane to push the enemy champions closer to that river brush. So this was really good. Whether it was intentional or not, in fact I know it's not intentional, but still, this is something that you can think about and hopefully you can see and apply in your games. Now Baby Faker does so well for the rest of this fight, guys, and gets 3 kills in total, okay? But she commits a cardinal sin right here. Now when I point this out, this is going to save so many of you because for some some reason, especially players in lower elo, they love tower plates. When you're auto-attacking a turret like this, guys, you only auto-attack it if you need the turret plate gold. So if you need 160 gold, of course you can stay and get it, and then you recall in a safe position to base and get that major item. But here, when we look at the scoreboard, we can see that KAISA has 2100 gold. This is easily enough to get a Gale Force, Kraken Slayer, whatever she is going for, and some boots as well. So she doesn't even need to stay for this 160 gold. This is just pure greed. And what ends up happening as a result, even though she gets hit by this Luxor, which is kind of unfortunate, and she dies, even if she doesn't get hit by it, she's actually wasting time, because really she wants to be in lane as much as possible to keep killing the Aphelios here. So really you're doing the other champions a favor by staying in lane, because that time could have been used to get back in your lane quicker to keep dominating. So unless you need 160 gold in your games, guys, for a major item, just recall, play for that tempo. It's so important. Now, it is the Jizz's last friendly reminder to remind you of the GameLeap website, which I told you about in the introduction. We are uploading the challenger players we have, and coaches, me included. We are uploading close to 20 videos a week, guys, for our subscribers. 20 videos a week. There's champion courses, there's champion guides, so there's role guides, everything you need to climb to perfected champion, to gain elo. We have it on our website, so get signed up, links down below. So yes, this last mistake that Baby Faker makes, you can actually see that his KAISA mechanics are pretty good, right? Which is the same for pretty much everyone in gold, platinum, elo. But the mistake he makes, and the mistake that so many players make, even challengers make it sometimes, is being way too greedy with your flash. So what people like to do is hold on to their flash until the very end. If you know you're in a sticky situation, guess what? It is much better to just flash straight away to get to safety, rather than waiting for that Malphite ultimate to hit you, rather than waiting for that set E to hit you. If you know you're too close, if you're in melee range, if you just admit to yourself, okay, I've misstepped here, I'm just going to flash out to safety and, you know, protect myself. That's much better. I'm actually going to stay here, get hit by the CC. Oh no, I actually am dead anyway. That's much worse. So if you need a flash out of a situation, guys, do not wait until the CC lands to tell you so. Use a bit of foresight, admit to yourself that you're in a dangerous situation, and make it a safe situation by using your summoner spells. So in this game, Baby Faker actually does pretty well in the laning phase. Yes, a couple of deaths could have been avoided, but on the whole, it's pretty good. It's actually not that bad. So I want you guys to tell me what elo you think Baby Faker should be. Should he be gold 3 like he is? Should he be gold 4? Should he be silver? Should he be iron? Should he be diamond like he thinks he should be? Let me know in the comments, and as always, guys, thanks so much for watching, and until tomorrow's video, this has been the Jizz. Remember to hit the sub button. Bye!